Well, it's not too often the hockey world generally agrees with Brad Marchand, but they did with his tweet about the Olympic lack of participation, I guess we'll call it for the men. His tweet, the NHL and NHLPA can change the rules of the CBA to add a taxi squad so that they don't miss any games and they don't lose any money, which has already been agreed upon that the players will pay back in escrow until the owners are made whole from what they have lost during this pandemic, regardless of how many games are missed. Yet they can't do a taxi squad during the Olympics so they can honor the agreement they made so NHL players can go. Please tell me that's not bullshit. And for all of you out there who want to pipe back about forfeiting pay while being gone, yeah, not a problem. Let the players make their choice. Again, I'm bringing this up again because it's Marchand, and again, he's not the most liked guy in the league, but everybody agreed with him. Vladimir Tarasenko, he chimed in as well, basically saying, yeah, it's kind of bullshit. And he was saying that you'd be surprised how many guys actually would have gone. So, I mean, we could probably put this story to bed soon, Biz, but, you know, it was a noteworthy thing from a pretty prominent player.
Go ahead, Whit. You seem cocked and loaded.
No, I understand completely where he's coming from, but what's interesting is as many people who agreed with him, and in the end, I do too, I'll say this, you know who wouldn't have agreed with them is Bruins fans, because if you look at it, say him, Bergeron, and Pasta and McAvoy left. The Bruins have four of the best players in the league, not in the lineup. They got taxi squad guys replacing them. No chance they make the playoffs. They're already barely there right now. So, yes, you were playing for your country, which in the end is something that everyone dreams of doing, like we mentioned with the World Juniors. Olympics is even beyond that. Best on best. Yes, I'm all on board on wanting to play for your country, but there would have been Bruins fans furious. And you could say now everyone agrees with them, but when you go and you're gone 26 days and your team goes 2-8, it's like, I don't know. It would have been a lot different had guys decided to completely bail on teams and they kept playing.
Yeah, so I think everybody's well aware of my opinion on this. I've kind of spoke more to like just keeping the NHL up and running because of what happened last year. I might sound hypocritical in defending Marchand, what he said. My whole idea of it all changes completely if I was in his shoes, given what I've done for that franchise and the value of the team. So the whole like having to eat it and essentially pay for the taxi squad in order to keep going, like I would say Marchand easily in his tenure as a Boston Bruin has probably added solely himself at least $100 million worth of value to that franchise, if not more. Would you not agree?
Whoa.
Oh, here we go. I knew you were going to fucking argue with me. Let's go. You're telling me for what he's done over the last, how long has he been with the team? 13 years. He's helped win them a Stanley Cup.
I think it's impossible to put. I think it's just impossible to.
Yeah, it is if you don't use your brain.
How do you figure? Give me a monetary reason for why it's $100 million.
Because the amount of playoff races they've been through. And the amount of tickets they've sold because of that, because their team's been relevant. This has been one of the best lines in hockey for a very, very long time. Pasta not included in the fact that how long he's been there, but he's also been there for what, five to 6 years making an impact. So these guys are the ones who are selling out the building every night. These are the guys who are getting the playoff tickets sold because they're making playoffs. I guarantee you each game that each playoff game in Boston's probably bringing in $3 million. And they've been relevant for as long as they have because he's been one of the most reliable players over the last 10 to 15 years. So, yes, I think look at the franchise values and how much they've escalated in the time. Am I saying that it's solely just him? No, but he's been their most reliable forward. I would put it even on top of Bergeron.
No, okay, so
why are you laughing, G? Because I fucked up the name because I'm.
You can't say Bergeron's name, Biz, ever.
Bergeron, yeah, I always fuck that one up. I always think of Bergevin.
Bergevin in your mind sometimes, so I don't really blame you.
It's pronounced Bergevin.
If you just those two together, and like Chara, yeah, I guess if you group that core that had that 10-year like magnificent successful run, 2 cup finals, a cup win, or 3 cup finals, 1 win. I just think when you said just him, I my head exploded. But if you want to talk about 3 or 4 guys being worth 100 to 150 million over the course of the last 10 years, I'll agree with you.
I would say you could separate them, and each of them have added that much in value. Go back, probably 12 to 15.
But without them all together,
That's fair, but he's one of the top players in the league and has been for a long time. So to think that he hasn't, buddy, look at that here. I'll give you another prime example. And this is obviously a different spectrum. Connor McDavid, look at the franchise. They got a new rink basically because they got him as first overall. And look what he's done. So for those guys to say, oh, now we got to cover the taxi squad if we want to get over there. And there he is still saying, fine, I'll fucking pay for it. And on top of that, Marchand has been playing at a discount. So if I'm putting myself in Marchand's shoes, everything that he said, he has complete right to say it. Although I've said everything from the ownership / league standpoint leading up to this point about, I understand why they didn't end up going to the Olympics. I understand why they had to put their foot down. They knew it was going to be a gong show over there and that it would probably end up dragging out where they wouldn't have access to these players. But for these players, the ones who lace them up and the ones that the fans come to watch, I think that him saying what he said, he has a big time point. And any of those guys, if they want to feel like that, they have every right to. And then the fact that they have to cover the cost of the taxi squad against, that's another one that in my opinion is bullshit. I think that the players have done a lot of bending in order to make everything work, including lining the owners' pockets with even more money. I think that he had his tweet, I think he hit it out of the fucking park.